Did you know that a man can feel intensely attracted to you, yet never commit to you? And that the click that makes him choose you forever has nothing to do with how much you love him, how hard you try, or how available you are. What makes the difference is not how much you give, it's what he perceives in you when he looks at you. And that perception doesn't happen by chance. It's the result of a specific energy, an emotional presence, a way of moving through the world that makes him feel like he's found something he can never replace. Today, I'm not going to talk to you about tricks to hook him. Today, I'm going to show you the 5 hidden keys that unconsciously activate a man's real desire for commitment. I'll take you from that place where you feel like you're giving your all, and yet he still doesn't choose you, to that inner space where you become the one woman he can't let go of. This is an energetic, emotional, and mental transformation, a kind of inner alchemy that's going to place you on the throne you deserve. Get ready, because after hearing these 5 keys, you won't settle for being almost chosen ever again. So go ahead and hit like right now and subscribe. It's totally free for you, and it helps me so much. Ready? Let's go. Key 1. The click isn't about falling in love. It's about recognition. Why does passion fade while commitment doesn't? Listen closely to that moment you're waiting for, the instant when he stops hesitating, when his gaze changes, and his actions choose you without you having to beg for it. It doesn't happen when a man is more in love. It happens when his soul recognizes you. And this isn't just a romantic metaphor. It's real, it's psychological, it's spiritual, it's Jungian. Because what many women mistake for the moment of commitment, that point when a man decides he wants something serious, real, and lasting, is not connected to the intensity of passion, or to how many kisses you share, or to how much time you spend together. It's connected to an energy that resonates inside him. It's an energy that makes him say, even if he can't explain it, she is no. It's not just that I like her. It's not just that she's fun. It's not just that she's attractive. She's that thing I can't afford to lose. Carl Jung put it this way: the meeting of 2 personalities is like the contact of 2 chemical substances. If there's any reaction, both are transformed. That click happens when you stop trying to be liked and start radiating from your most powerful essence, an essence you can't fake. Falling in love is adrenaline, chemistry, desire. But the click of commitment is profound recognition. It's when your emotional energy, your outlook on life, your inner coherence, and your vibrational light resonate with his most authentic value system, even if he's not consciously aware of it. And do you know why many women never get to experience that click? Because they're so busy doing everything right that they disconnect from who they really are. Instead of revealing themselves, they mold themselves. Instead of lighting up their inner fire, they focus on being pleasant. Instead of radiating authenticity, they project perfection. And perfection doesn't create commitment. Perfection creates pressure, and no man wants to spend his life living in an exam room. Let me tell you a real-life story that illustrates this point. Olivia was 33 years old and had dated several men. She was smart, beautiful, professional. But all of them, absolutely all, told her some version of the phrase every woman hates. It's not you, it's me. Or I'm not ready for anything serious. And she started to believe there was something about her that simply didn't inspire commitment. That maybe she'd never be the kind of woman a man chooses forever. Until she met Stephen. From the very start, the connection was different. Not because it was intense, but because it was natural. Olivia wasn't trying hard. She wasn't acting. She wasn't trying to convince Stephen that she was the one. For the first time, Olivia had done deep inner work to reconnect with herself. She had healed her need for external approval. She had stopped chasing and had started living from her authenticity. And what happened was fascinating. Within just a few weeks, Stephen looked at her and said, almost without thinking, "With you, I feel at home. I don't have to be anyone else. I don't feel like searching anymore. You make me want to build something." That was the click. It wasn't an explosive kiss. It wasn't a night of passion. It was soul recognition. It was the moment she stopped being just another possibility and became the answer. Because what triggers commitment in a man isn't how much he likes you, it's how well you fit into his future identity. You don't want him to choose you purely out of desire. You want him to choose you because you align with his vision for his life. And that only happens when he sees you as someone who's in sync with his purpose, his growth, and his deepest sense of what it means to walk through life with someone. So here's the revelation. If you're waiting for him to commit because he feels happy, or because he misses you, or because he likes you a lot, you're playing the wrong game. A man can feel all those things and still not stay. But if his soul recognizes you as the woman who elevates him, reflects him, inspires him, and centers him, that's when the true click happens. The one where he has no doubts. The one where he stops looking elsewhere. The one where he doesn't care if there are women who are prettier, funnier, or more accommodating, because the soul doesn't compete. The soul recognizes. And if you want that click to happen in your life, start by changing your approach. Stop trying to make him like you, and start striving to be fully yourself in your highest power. Stop shrinking or adjusting yourself to fit in, and start showing up fearlessly. Stop chasing love, and start being the woman who becomes a destination. Because that click that transforms casual connections into deep love cannot be forced, but it can be sparked. And you can spark it, not with pressure, but with presence. And once you understand this, you realize an even more powerful truth, one that opens the next door. What makes a man feel safe enough to open his inner world and show it to you? What is the exact energy that makes him say, "With her, I can be myself without fear"? The answer is what I'm going to reveal to you now in the next key. Key 2. The secret of emotional safe space. This is the key for getting a man to lower his defenses and show you his true self. I'm going to pause for a moment to ask you from the bottom of my heart. I'd really appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel. It allows me to keep creating these heartfelt messages. And the best part is that it's completely free for you. Subscribe now. And let's keep going with the most powerful part coming up. Listen carefully to this phrase, because it might be the most important thing you hear if you truly want a man to stay. A man doesn't stay with the woman who makes him fall in love. He stays with the woman with whom he can fall apart without fear. And this truth is brutal, because many times you prepare yourself to be the most charming, the prettiest, the strongest. But you rarely prepare to be the woman who knows how to hold space for a man's soul in its most vulnerable state. Commitment doesn't happen at the peak of attraction. It happens at the deepest point of emotional trust. There's a silent wound that many men carry from childhood, the inability to be fragile without being judged. They were taught that crying is weakness, that feeling is immature, that asking for help is unmanly, and they've grown up wearing an armor that's hard to take off. But when a man meets a woman who doesn't ridicule him, who doesn't pressure him, who doesn't attack him when he struggles to express himself, that woman becomes his sanctuary. And a man doesn't abandon the place where his soul can rest. Carl Jung said, "The shadow is everything that the individual refuses to acknowledge about himself." And when a man truly falls in love, it's not with the woman who applauds his light. It's with the woman who can gently touch his shadow without fear. Let me tell you a real-life story that shows exactly this. Bella met Louis at a peculiar moment in his life. He was going through a crisis. He'd lost his job, felt he wasn't living his purpose, and had become quieter than usual. Many women would have pulled away, or worse, demanded more attention, more explanations, more clarity. But Bella didn't do that. She didn't chase him with questions. She didn't rush him to talk. She simply said one sentence that changed everything between them. "You don't have to be strong with me all the time. I know how to hold space too." And that was like opening a floodgate. Louis began to trust her. He started talking, opening up, showing himself without fear of being judged. And the most incredible thing was that after that vulnerable phase, not only did he recover, but he asked Bella for something he'd never asked anyone else, to build a life together. Why? Because Bella became his emotional safe space. A place where his chaos wasn't a threat, where his fear wasn't mocked, where his silence wasn't turned into conflict. She didn't try to change him. She embraced him exactly as he was, confusion and all. And that's what bonded him to her, soul deep. The mistake many women make is thinking that commitment is won by showing only their prettiest version. The fun one, the smiling one, the unbreakable one. But what a man needs, deep in his hidden core, is to know that when his world collapses, you won't be just another burden, but his refuge. So how do you create that emotional safe space? Listen carefully. A safe space is built on 3 pillars: presence, acceptance, and containment. Presence, being there without trying to fix him. You don't need to have all the answers, just be present. Acceptance, not using his low moments as weapons later on, not labeling his pain as weakness. Containment, having your own internal stability so you don't get swept away by his storm, but instead offer him calm. A woman who panics when he pulls away, who attacks him when he goes quiet, who judges him when he can't handle his world, isn't ready to hold space for his shadow. And that drives him away. Not because he doesn't love her, but because he can't show her who he truly is. A man doesn't commit to the woman who demands stability from him when he's falling apart. He commits to the woman who reminds him he can fall and still be worthy of love. And here's the strongest revelation of this point. The real bond is formed when he shows you his wound, and you don't run. When you're not shocked, when you don't try to change him, when you don't interrupt him with your own fears, when you don't make him feel like he's a problem. That moment, that instant when he dares to take off his armor, and you don't run away, don't correct him, don't minimize what he's feeling, that is the emotional click that turns into commitment. And if you're ready to create that space, to be the woman who's not just desire but also a place of rest, then he won't keep searching. Because as Jung said, loneliness does not come from having no people around you, but from being unable to communicate the things that seem important to you. You can be that exception, the woman with whom he can truly be himself. And when you achieve this, it leads you to the next key, one of the hardest to accept, yet the most necessary to understand. How can you inspire him to commit without becoming a burden, without clipping his wings, yet still becoming his home? That's what you're going to see now in the third key. T3. Become his North Star, not his anchor. The power of inspiring his growth instead of limiting his freedom. There's a mistaken belief that might be stealing the commitment you deserve. Thinking that in order to keep a man from leaving, you have to hold on to him tightly. Let me share a truth that might sting at first, but if you understand it, it will completely transform your energy in a relationship. A man doesn't stay with the woman who holds him back. He stays with the woman who expands him. And no, this doesn't mean playing hard to get or letting him do whatever he wants. This goes deeper. It's about being the woman who inspires him to go beyond himself, who challenges him to grow, who makes him admire you because your own life has direction, purpose, and strength. And do you know why this activates the click of commitment? Because deep in the masculine soul, there's an ancient, primal instinct that doesn't seek comfort, but mission. Carl Jung explained it like this: man needs to understand his purpose in the world, or he will be devoured by his shadow. When a man feels that his life has direction, and that you're aligned with that direction, without sacrificing your own path, something powerful happens. He starts to see you as his North Star, as his emotional compass, as the woman who doesn't cage him, but lifts him higher. Let me tell you a story that illustrates this perfectly. Angela had been with David for 2 years. She was a sweet, loving woman, always available for him, but she was also afraid of losing him. So, without realizing it, she began to limit him. She'd get upset if he worked late, grew anxious when he wanted time with his friends, and constantly asked if he still felt the same about her. And David, though he loved her, began to feel trapped, as if he were in a golden cage. The relationship became a burden. One day, he told her something she'd never forget. "I feel like you love me, but I also feel like I'm not free anymore." It broke her, but it also woke her up. Angela began a deep personal transformation. She reconnected with her own projects, resumed her art sessions, and started a business she'd always postponed. And she didn't do it to make him jealous. She did it because she realized she'd stopped being herself in order to hold on to someone else. Months later, David came back, but he came back different, more present, and with a question that changed everything. How can we grow together? And do you know what had changed? Angela was no longer an anchor, she was his North Star. She didn't need him to feel alive anymore. And that's what made him want to walk through life with her. Because when a man sees you shining on your own, unafraid of your light, without needing to control him, He doesn't want to leave. He wants to stay and be part of that expansion. And here's the practical key to this point. To become his North Star, you first need to stop revolving your life around him. Your life can't be defined by what he does, says, or feels. You have to have your own world, your own dreams, your own pace. That doesn't mean becoming emotionally distant. It means having deep roots that don't shake with every move he makes. Think about this. Does your day depend on whether he texted you? Does your mood depend on whether he complimented you? Does your motivation depend on whether he's around? If the answer is yes, then you're being his anchor. And even if he loves you, he'll feel it. Men don't run away from love. They run away from suffocation, from the lack of space, from the feeling that if they fail, you'll fall apart. That's why the woman a man chooses forever is the one who can stand on her own, with dignity, joy, and direction. Here's an affirmation I want you to hold on to. I'm not his distraction. I'm his inspiration. That's your new mantra, and let me repeat it so you can anchor it in your mind. You are not an escape from his bad days. You are the force that makes him want to be better. A woman with purpose, with passions, with inner peace is a woman with whom a man can build a life. Because she doesn't limit him, she amplifies him. So if you truly want him to see you as the one, stop waiting for him to choose you, and start building a life that makes him fear losing you. Because the truest commitment doesn't come from the fear of being alone. It comes from the fear of losing someone who inspires him deeply. And if you've made it this far, get ready, because what comes next is often the key that decides everything. What happens when he enters chaos and you manage to stay calm? That calm is the real turning point. And that's what you'll discover in the fourth key. T4. The test of chaos. How your calm in his storms triggers his instinct to protect and provide forever. There are moments in a man's life that change everything. They're not the happy days, not the vacations, not the romantic plans. They're his storms. Because when a man is in chaos, when his world is shaking, when his emotions overwhelm him, when he has no answers or direction, that's when something very deep is revealed. Who is by his side and how? And here's a truth many women don't know. A man doesn't commit to the woman who loves him when everything is going well. He commits to the woman who doesn't let go of him, even when he can't stand himself. But listen carefully. This doesn't mean putting up with everything. It's not about becoming his therapist or his savior. It's about being a presence, a calm that doesn't collapse under his chaos. A woman who knows who she is, even when he forgets who he is. Carl Jung said that chaos is nothing but matter without form, waiting to be ordered by consciousness. And you can be that consciousness that brings order, not with words, but with your vibration. Let me share a real-life story that illustrates this perfectly. Rose had been dating Matthew for 6 months. The connection was intense, the chemistry undeniable. But one day, Matthew got the worst news. His father had fallen gravely ill, his business was struggling, and his self-esteem crashed. Rose thought that being more attentive, more loving, more present would help him. But the more she tried to get closer, the more Matthew pulled away. She texted him every day, offered help, kept telling him how much she admired him, and he just grew colder. Rose was heartbroken until one day, in silence, she did something different. She stopped speaking to him from a place of anxiety and began to hold her own peace. She stopped flooding him with questions and chose instead to hold on to her faith. She didn't disappear, but she stopped chasing. And then something unexpected happened. One night, Matthew called her and said, "I know I haven't been easy, but what made me realize I need you was your calm. The way you didn't pressure me, the way you didn't give up on me, but also didn't lose yourself for me." And just like that, that was the day Matthew decided to commit to her. Do you know why? Because men don't fall in love with the woman who shouts the loudest in the middle of chaos. They fall in love with the one who reminds them that there's still order, beauty, and balance. And don't get me wrong, this isn't about putting up with everything. It's not about allowing disrespect or sacrificing your peace. It's about cultivating a stable inner energy that even someone else's chaos can't shake. This awakens something primal in him, his instinct to protect, to care, to stay close to what soothes him. And here's the practical key for this point. When he goes into chaos, don't react. Breathe. Be silent. He needs his space. Don't take it personally. Watch his signals. Is he running away from you or processing? There's a difference between avoiding you and needing to work through his own process. Keep your life moving. Don't pause your plans. Don't put your days on hold. Your stability is medicine. Be his space without judgment. If he talks, listen. If he goes silent, stay present without pressure. And above all, never negotiate your dignity. Loving someone through their storm is not the same as drowning in it. A man might go through 1,000 storms, but if he discovers there's a woman who not only stands by him, but who remains strong in her own light, that woman becomes unique, irreplaceable, the one. Because he doesn't just remember how he felt beside you when he was happy, he remembers how he healed beside you when everything was falling apart. And when that happens, he doesn't just think about sharing the good times with you. He thinks about building an entire life with you. So the next time he goes into chaos, don't rush in to rescue him. Hold your peace, hold your energy, and let him discover, in the middle of his darkness, that you are the lighthouse. Because true commitment is born when he realizes that no storm he faces can ever dim your light. And if you've made it this far, get ready. Because what comes next is the most powerful key of all, the one that makes him say she's not just any woman. If I lose her, I lose everything. And I'll reveal that to you in the 5th key. Key 5. The irreplaceable factor. The combination of your purpose and your joy that makes him fear losing you more than anything else. There's something no looks can give you, no words, no text, no strategy. It's an energy you can't fake, can't buy, and didn't memorize from a viral video. It's the vibration of a woman who has become her own center, a woman who's irreplaceable. And what you're about to understand can change everything. Because yes, a man might desire you, he might love your body, he might be enchanted by your sweetness, but that alone isn't why he stays. He stays when he's afraid of losing you. And not afraid of physical emptiness, but afraid of no longer having beside him an energy so alive, so unique, so fully yours that no one else can match it. That's the click that locks in his commitment. And listen to me closely. That click isn't triggered by what you do for him. It's not about how many times you cook for him, how much you support him, or how often you motivate him. It's triggered by who you are without him. Your universe, your purpose, your laughter when no one's watching, your passion for life when he's not around. Let me share a story that shows this point with absolute clarity. Mary was in a relationship with Andrew. Everything seemed fine on the surface, but he avoided commitment. Every time they talked about the future, he'd change the subject. When she mentioned the word us, he'd emotionally withdraw. Mary went into fight mode. She made herself more available, more loving, more understanding. She stopped seeing her friends, put her projects on hold, was always there, always ready. And yet he still wouldn't fully choose her. Until one day, without drama, without ultimatums, Mary got tired. But not tired of him. She got tired of forgetting herself. She went back to her hobbies. She started painting again, running, laughing with friends, doing yoga to her favorite music. She became the Mary who had existed before she'd made Andrew her entire world. And what happened was surprising. Andrew started seeking her out, but not like before. Not with empty words, but with real intention, with actions, with fear. The real fear of losing a woman who no longer revolved around him. See the difference? The commitment click happens when he realizes that you're not going to slow down for anyone. That you're building a life so rich, so luminous, so truly yours, that losing you would mean losing access to an entire universe. And there's a psychological reason for this. Carl Jung taught that the human soul seeks wholeness, and when a man finds in you a dimension that complements his shadow, one that brings him joy, peace, inspiration, and purpose, he realizes that kind of energy isn't something he'll find twice in a lifetime. Here are the practical keys for this point. Do something every day just for you, not something productive, but something that nourishes you, that makes you laugh from deep inside. Make it visible, but without showing off. Don't post it online just so he'll see it. Live it, and let your energy speak for you. Have your own sources of joy that don't depend on him. A woman who doesn't wait for a man to make her happy becomes magnetic. Connect with your purpose. What are you good at? What sets your soul on fire? Make it part of your routine. Remember this. He doesn't become obsessed with the woman who loves him the most. He becomes obsessed with the woman who reminds him what it truly means to live. When you do this, something changes in his gaze. He no longer sees you as just another woman. He sees you as someone he cannot replace. Because he's not merely losing a girlfriend, he's losing an energetic experience, a vibration, a life. And that's what truly scares him. And it's that fear that activates his commitment, not out of neediness, but out of awareness, out of real choice. Because a man can meet plenty of beautiful, kind, fun women, but very few who love themselves so fiercely, who shine so brightly, whose mere presence reminds him of the life he wants for himself. And when that happens, when you become that woman, you no longer have to chase commitment. You become the natural choice. And now that you've gone through the 5 T's to activating the real commitment, get ready. Because what I'm going to share next is a revelation that speaks straight to your soul. How do you close this emotional and energetic cycle so you'll never again feel like you're only half chosen? Let's go to the conclusion. And now you know, real commitment doesn't come from drama or chasing or constant seduction. It's born when you become a woman who doesn't need to be chosen, but who is impossible to ignore. Carl Jung saw this truth clearly. What you are destined for will find you, but only when you're ready. And you don't become the chosen one by waiting for him to decide it. You become the chosen one when you choose yourself first, with every cell of your body. When your life is so full of purpose, of beauty, of authentic joy, that you don't need to convince anyone to stay. Because anyone who sees your light simply doesn't want to lose it. And listen to this with your heart wide open. The real click of commitment doesn't happen in his mind. It happens first in your energy. When you become the emotional, spiritual, and vibrational space that no man can replace. And the most important part, when you no longer need him to choose you in order to feel worthy. Now I want you to leave your mark right below this video. Type this powerful phrase in the comments to anchor it into your soul. I am the universe that no one can replace. Write it, repeat it, feel it. Because when you embody this truth, the world changes how it sees you, and so does he. If this message resonated with your soul, it's time to take the next step. Subscribe now to keep raising your vibration with every new video. Give this content a like so more souls can hear what has set you free today. Share this video with someone you know who also needs to let go in order to heal. And of course, leave your declaration in the comments so this message is sealed in your energy. But above all, don't leave just yet. There's so much more waiting for you. Dive into the other videos here on the channel and keep expanding your energy and your power. I'll see you in the next video.